Steps to better living presents self-determination and person-centered planning. Steps to better living is committed to operating in a manner in which the needs of the person served as well as his or her lifestyle choices are understood, maintained and respected. We will strive to continually get to know the person and his or her needs, talents, dreams, goals and preferences, and use this knowledge to impact the type of support given to this person. It is the underlying philosophy of this agency that the individual receiving services, or those legally representing that individual, be put in charge of those services, to the highest degree possible. This agency is also committed to the advancement of self-determination for all persons with developmental disabilities served by this agency. Self-determination incorporates a set of concepts and values that emphasize participation and the achievement of personal control for people served. These concepts and values stem from a core belief that people who require support must have freedom not only to define the life they seek, but to be supported to direct the assistance they require in pursuit of that life. Persons who rely on steps to better living for supports and services must have access to meaningful options from which to make choices, and be supported to control the course of their lives. Principles of self-determination. Self-determination incorporates a set of concepts and values that underscore a core belief that people who require support as a result of a disability should be able to define what they need in terms of the life they seek, have access to meaningful choices, and have control over their lives. Self-determination involves accomplishing system change to assure that services and supports for people are not only person-centered, but person-defined and person-controlled. Self-determination is based on 4 principles. These principles are: freedom, to plan a real-life authority over your resources, support for building a life in your community. Responsibility, to give back to your community. Person-centered planning. The overall aim of person-centered planning is good planning leading to positive changes in people's lives and services. Ritchie et al., 2003. Person-centered planning is not so much a new technique for planning as a new approach to, or new type of planning that is underpinned by a set of values and beliefs that is very different to the current norm. It is planning that takes as its primary focus a person as opposed to a disability, or a service, or some other particular issue. It is whole person oriented as opposed to disability management focused. It is about citizenship, inclusion in family, community, and the mainstream of life. At Steps to Better Living, the focus of all individual service plans shall be on supporting people in achieving what is important to them. Whenever possible, a single planning process will be used to assist the person in determining the services, the supports he or she will receive to reach his or her desired outcomes. The person determines and manages needed supports in close association with chosen friends, family, neighbors, and co-workers as a part of an ordinary community life. Issues of health, safety and well-being are central to assuring successful accomplishment of the individual's plan. These issues must be addressed and resolved using the person-centered planning process, balancing individual preferences and opportunities for self-direction with obligations under federal and state law and applicable Medicaid waiver regulations. Resolutions should be guided by the person's preferences and needs and implemented in ways to that maintain the greatest opportunity for individual control and directions. Self-determination at Steps to Better Living. To advance self-determination, Steps to Better Living supports and expands opportunities for self-direction that will enable people served, and where appropriate, their guardians and families, to obtain supports and services based on the person's needs, values, and preferences. This is accomplished through the design and implementation of service options that give people served, guardians, and families greater control to decide and direct what supports and services to use, when and where to receive them and from whom. These service options will incorporate elements of self-direction that are individualized, sensitive, and culturally appropriate.